Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to bring you a battle between two Ikoria sealed decks and the Defeat a God challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. Both these decks are Jeskai decks and I have links to their deck builds in the description box below. For these games, we're going to be using 3 hero cards. The first one is the Harvester. It says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. The second one is Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And the final one is the Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. Because I only have 1 copy of each of these cards, we're going to apply them to both decks simultaneously. We'll be playing 2 games versus the challenge deck, first on normal difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs, and then on hard mode. We'll go ahead and get started by drawing 8 cards apiece. Red draws a Pouncing Shore Shark, Mountain, Plains, Fire Prophecy, Drowning Stinger, Farfinder, Cub Warden, and Regal Leosaur. I think this is an alright start here, so we will keep this. Blue draws a Plains, One of Mine, Plains, Plains, Thieving Otter, Island, Island, and Island. I don't love this start because I don't have anything other than Thieving Otter and One of Mine, but hopefully we can loot away the lands and get into it. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started by playing a Mountain and a Plains over here. We'll tap both of these and we will go ahead and cast the Regal Leosaur right away. This is a 2/2 dinosaur cat with mutate 1 red, white, red, white. Whenever this creature mutates, other creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Over here we'll play a Plains and an Island, and that is all we can do there. We're going to pass to Xenagos, who will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Xenagos' Scorn. Xenagos Ascendant gains trample until end of turn and attacks this turn if able. And then the second one is Impulsive Return. Return 2 cards naming a Stacked Piper from Xenagos' graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of combat this turn, Impulsive Return deals damage to each player equal to the number of revelers on the battlefield. Alright, there are no Ecstatic Pipers to return to the battlefield, but we are going to combat, and the 3 combined revelers are going to do damage to each player. That is going to be 6 damage, and then Xenagos will be attacking with Trample. Because we just don't want to absorb 2 of that, we're just going to go ahead and take all 12 and go down to 8. And then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Ferocious Tigerilla, and we will discard the Ferocious Tigerilla. Blue will draw an Imposing Venusaur, and we will discard a Plains. Then we'll untap. Red draws a Plains. Blue draws a Alert Heatbonder. We will play a Plains and a Island over here. And then we will play a Plains over here. We're going to tap 3 mana over here. And we will cast the Farfinder. This is a 1/1 Fox with Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. We're going to go ahead and look for an Island. There it is. We'll put it into our hand and we'll shuffle. We'll go ahead and play this Island as well. And then over here, we are going to spend 3 mana to cast the Alert Heatbonder. This is a 2/4 Human Scout with Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, you gain 1 life for each creature you control with Vigilance. And we can't kill any of the Rollicking Throngs right now, and so we will gain 1 life from the Alert Heatbonder to go up to 9. And then we will pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap and then cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Impulsive Return, and then the second one is a Ecstatic Piper. This is going to enter the battlefield. We're going to be taking 6 damage from the Rollicking Throngs to go down to 3, which means that we have to block at minimum 3 of the damage by Xenagos. So we will put the Alert Heatbonder in the way of Xenagos because it has 4. The Heatbonder will die and Xenagos will attack, and we will take 2 damage to go to 1. And then we will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. And red will draw a Frostveil Ambush, and we will discard the Frostveil Ambush. Blue will draw a Island, and we'll discard the Island. We'll untap. Red will draw an Island. Blue will draw a Urian Sky Nomad. We'll play the Island, and we'll play this Island. I think it will be good for us to mutate the Cub Warden onto the Farfinder. This is a 3/5 cat with mutate 2 white white. It has lifelink. Whenever this creature mutates, you create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. Now it has vigilance as well. On blue's side, I think we just tap out and cast Yorion. This is a 4/5 legendary bird serpent with companion and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control and own. Return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. We don't have anything like that. It's just a creature. We will go to combat and we will attack the Rollicking Throng with the Cub Warden. And we will get 2 1/1s. This will kill the Rollicking Throng. And we will gain 3 life to go back up to 4. And that is all that we have going on here. We'll pass back to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap and we'll cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Rollicking Throng. It's a 1/3 human reveler. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of the Xenagos' library. The Xenagos has cast that card. Xenagos will cast a Serpent Dancer. It's a 2/4 human reveler with Death Touch. And when it leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. We'll also cast one more, and that is a Impulsive Destruction. Each player may sacrifice an artifact or enchantment. Impulsive Destruction deals 3 damage to each player who didn't sacrifice a permanent this way. We don't actually have any artifacts or enchantments to sacrifice, and so we'll take 6 and perish. And that is a brutal loss for us here. We just could not get ourselves going until it was a little too late. The life gain from the Cub Warden could have stabilized us. I think we would have survived an attack by Xenagos this turn, and perhaps turned the corner the next game. But we lost, and that is that. We'll be right back for hard mode, which I hope we can somehow survive. Alright, it's time for hard mode. We have 4 Rollicking Throngs gathered now, and we'll draw 8 cards apiece. Red draws a Fire Prophecy, a Plains, a Mountain, an Island, a Startling Development, Mythos of Vadrock, Mountain, and Porky Parrot. I think this is an alright start. Blue draws a Frostveil Ambush, Island, Imposing Vanasaur, Skycat Sovereign, Lava Serpent, Alert, Heatbonder, Plains, and Will of the All Hunter. It's not a great start, but I think we'll be able to work with it. Go ahead and get started by playing a Plains and a Mountain for red. And blue will play a Plains and an Island. Blue will tap these both to cast the Skycat Sovereign. This is a 1/1 elemental cat with flying. It gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying, and you can pay 2 white and blue to create a 1/1 white cat bird creature token with flying. And then we'll pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Ecstatic Piper. It's a 2/2 Satyr Reveler. When it enters the battlefield, Xenagos descends attacks this turn if able. And when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life. We'll also get a Rip to Pieces. At the beginning of combat this turn, each Reveler deals 1 damage to each player and each creature those players control. That is one of the best spells that Xenagos has going on. So to reduce some of this damage, we are going to tap these 2 and cast Fire Prophecy, targeting the Ecstatic Piper. This is an instant. It deals 3 damage to a target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do draw a card, go ahead and take the Startling Development and put it on the bottom of the library to draw a card, which is Lord Rakkus. And then the Ecstatic Piper will die and will gain 4 life. But then we're going to take 8 damage, including to Skycat Sovereign, who will die, and go down to 12. And Xenagos will attack and we'll take another 6 damage to go down to 6. It's not a great start. We're going to use a Harvester. And red will draw a Drannith Healer, and we will discard the Mythos of Vadrock. While blue will draw a Plains, and we will discard the Frostveil Ambush. We will untap. Red will draw a Savide Triumph, and blue will draw a Pacifism. Blue will play the Plains, and then we will tap 2 and cast Pacifism, targeting Xenagos. It is an aura enchant creature. It can't attack or block. This will perhaps reduce a bit of potential damage coming our way. We'll play a Mountain and an Island over here. And then we will tap 4 mana to cast the Porky Parrot. This is a 3/4 bird beast with mutate 2 and red, and you can tap it to deal X damage to any target where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. And then we don't have much else we can do right now, and so we will pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap. And then we'll cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Dance of Panic. As long as 5 or more Revelers are on the battlefield, all Revelers have haste and attack each turn if able. And then we have a Ecstatic Piper. And then there are 5 or more Revelers on the battlefield, and so they will all attack. This is troublesome. We are going to block the Ecstatic Piper with the Porky Parrot, which will kill the Ecstatic Piper. That'll give us 4 life, but we're taking 4 damage from the Rollicking Throng, so we will just go ahead and stay at 6. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Flourishing Fox, and blue will draw a Wingspan Mentor. Red will discard the Savai Triome, and blue will discard the Will of the All Hunter. And then we will tap the island here to cycle the Imposing Venusaur as well to draw a Yorion. That's not what we wanted. And then we will untap. Red draws a Regal Leosaur, and blue will draw a Plains. We'll play the Plains. Blue will tap these 3 and play the Alert Heat Bonder. Red will tap these 2 and mutate the Lordracus onto the Porcuparrot. This is a 2/3 lizard beast with mutate blue, red, and whenever this creature mutates, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. We will go ahead and take the Fire Prophecy back into our hand, and then we will go to combat, and we will attack with the Porcuparrot into one of the Rollicking Throngs to kill it. And then we will pass the turn to Xenagos, who will untap, and then cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Ecstatic Piper. The second one is a Xenagos' Strike. It deals 4 damage to each player. We are going to, while that is on the stack, tap the 2 lands here and cast Fire Prophecy, targeting the Ecstatic Piper, which will get us 4 life, and then we'll take 4 damage and another 4 damage to go down to 2. But we survive, barely. And then we will use the Harvester. Red will draw a Dreamtail Heron, and we will discard the Flourishing Fox. Blue will draw a Drannith Healer, and we will discard the Wingspan Mentor. We'll gain 1 life from the Alert Heat Bonder, which I forgot to do. And then we will go to our turn. We will untap. Red will draw a Savai Thundermane, and blue will draw a One of Mind. We'll go to combat and attack one of the Rollicking Throngs with the Porcuparrot to kill it. And then we will mutate the Dreamtail Heron onto the Porcuparrot. This is a 3/4 elemental bird with mutate 3 blue with flying, and whenever this creature mutates, draw a card. It doesn't really matter which order this is in, so we'll put it like this. This will trigger the draw card ability, so we'll draw an Evolving Wilds, and then we'll trigger the Lordracus ability, so we will get back the Mythos of Vadrock in this case. And red will play the Evolving Wilds, which is a land. It says tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle your library. We'll tap and sacrifice it to search for a white land. There it is. We'll put it onto the battlefield tapped, and we'll shuffle our library. Blue will spend 3 mana to cast One of Mind. This is a sorcery. It casts 2 less to cast if you control a human and a non-human to draw 2 cards. We'll draw a Tranquil Cove and a Thieving Otter. We will play the Tranquil Cove. It's a land and it's a battlefield tap. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life. You can tap it for white and blue. We'll gain a life to go up to 4. And then we will go to the end step. At the end step, we'll gain another life from the Alert Heat Bonder to go up to 5. And then we'll pass to Xenagos, who will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Ferris Band Revelers. It's a 4/4 Centaur Reveler, and when it leaves the battlefield, draw a card. And then we have a Ecstatic Piper. And then nothing happens, and then at the end of the turn we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Skycat Sovereign, and we will discard the Skycat Sovereign. Blue will draw a Island, and we will discard the Drannith Healer. And then we'll untap. Red will draw a Tranquil Cove, and blue will draw an Island. We'll play 2 islands, and we'll play a Tranquil Cove over here. We'll gain a life to go up to 6. Before combat, we are going to spend 4 mana here to cast Mythos of Vadrock. This is a sorcery, deals 5 damage, divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. If white and blue were spent to cast the spell until the end of your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. We'll put 4 of them into the Ferris Band Revelers, and the last one we'll put into the Rollicking Throng. This will kill the Ferris Band Revelers, and we'll draw 1 card each. This will kill the Ferris Band Revelers, and we'll draw a card each. Red draws a Startling Development, and blue will draw a Checkpoint Officer. And then we'll go to combat, and the Heat Bonder will finish off the Rollicking Throng, while the Parrot will destroy the Ecstatic Piper. We'll gain 4 more life from the death of the Piper to go up to 10, while we'll lose 1 Rollicking Throng here. And then on the second main phase, Blue will spend 5 mana and cast Yorion. We'll gain 1 life from the Heat Bonder to go back up to 11, and we will pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Ferrous-Band Revelers, and then the second one is an Ecstatic Piper. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red will draw a Go for Blood, and blue will draw a Mountain. We will discard the Checkpoint Officer here, and we will discard the Startling Development over here. We'll untap. Red draws a Ferocious Tigerilla, and blue draws a Plains. We're going to play the Mountain over here. Well, we don't quite have this, but we're pretty close. We'll go to combat. Yorion will attack the Ferrous-Band Revelers. The Heat Bonder will attack the Ecstatic Piper. The Porcupine will attack the Rollicking Throng. This will kill all 3 of these. We'll gain 4 life to go up to 15, and we will draw a card each. Red draws an Island, and blue draws a Voracious Great Shark. We'll play the Plains over here, we'll play the Island over here, and then we will spend 3 mana to cast the Thieving Otter. This is a 2/2 otter, and whenever it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. Over here, we'll spend 2 mana to cast the Regal Leosaur. We'll spend 2 more mana to cast the Savai Thundermane. This is a 3/2 elemental cat. Whenever you cycle a card, you may pay 2. If you do, Savai Thundermane deals 2 damage to target creature and you gain 2 life. And then we will pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Wild Mayonnaise. It's a 3/1 Human Reveler with first strike, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 3 life. We'll also get an Impulsive Return. We'll grab the Ecstatic Pipers, bring them back to the battlefield. And then we will take a total of 6 damage from the combined Revelers to go down to 9. Red will tap the Island to cycle the Drannith Healer. That will trigger the Savai Thundermane, so we'll tap 2 mana to do 2 damage to an Ecstatic Piper. We'll gain 4 life to go up to 13. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. And red will draw a Snare Tactician. We'll discard the Snare Tactician. Blue will draw a Plains. We'll discard the Plains. We should have cast the Voracious Great Shark to counter one of those, but it's too late for that. We'll go ahead and cast it now. This is a 5/4 Shark with Flash. When it enters the battlefield, counter target artifact or creature spell. And then we will untap. Red will draw a Plains. Blue will draw an Island. And I think we have this. We will spend 6 mana and cast the Lava Serpent. This is a 5/5 Elemental Serpent with haste and cycling 2. And then we will spend 1 mana over here to cycle the Go for Blood. This will draw us a card, and it will trigger the Savai Thundermane. We'll spend 2 mana to snipe down the Ecstatic Piper. We'll gain 2 life. Oh, we should have gained another 2 life, so we'll be at 17. And then we'll gain another 4 life from taking down the Ecstatic Piper to go up to 21. And then we will tap the Porcupine to shoot down the Wild Mayonnaise. It'll take 2 damage and it will perish, and we'll get 6 more life to go up to 27. And then we'll go to combat, and we will attack the Lava Serpent into Xenagos to finish Xenagos off. And the Ikoria Sealed decks managed to scrape a victory out of that tough fight. Somehow we managed to defeat Xenagos on hard mode, but lose to Xenagos on regular difficulty. I guess that happens. It's a very swingy deck. Let me know what your thoughts were about the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.